Hello everyone, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Brian, and I am the newest member of the High Stakes team. Now I'd like to commence this video with a request for those interested in receiving more premium betting tips and predictions. If our guidance has contributed to your success in winning bets and generating revenue, we kindly seek your support in revitalizing this channel. Your assistance plays a crucial role in bolstering our presence on YouTube. You're welcome to explore our Patreon support tier or check out our various plans. Multiple plans are available for each and every one of you seeking our premium picks. Baltimore Orioles vs Seattle Mariners. My team pick is Baltimore to win. And here is why. The Orioles have won 6 of their previous 8 games against the Mariners, including 2 of 3 during their last series in Seattle. The Orioles have excelled on the road in 2024, winning at a 63.2% clip. They have won 2 of their last 3 series on the road, including a 4-game sweep of the Rays in Tampa Bay. They rank 5th in the majors in runs scored while playing away from their home stadium. The Orioles have an elite offense this season, ranking high in multiple categories, including first in runs scored, so look for Baltimore to have the opportunity to add to the scoreboard throughout the contest. The Mariners rank low in several key offensive categories, including 27th in batting average at home, so they may lack the firepower to mount a comeback if they find themselves down early. Adding to Seattle's woes in this contest, Baltimore hurlers rank 3rd in the league in ERA with 3.44. They have generated a 3.27 ERA in their previous 6 games versus the Mariners in Seattle. The Mariners have lost 5 of their previous 7 games. The stats and trends strongly support a Baltimore victory on the road Wednesday evening. My total pick is under 7.5 runs, and here's why. Gilbert was effective versus the Orioles in Baltimore last season, giving up only 1 run and striking out 5 over 7 innings. Both squads rank high in multiple pitching categories, with the Mariners ranking 1st overall in ERA 2.63 at home, so the odds either team scores quickly in bunches or low. 2 of the previous 3 games played between the teams at T-Mobile Park went under the run total, with only 20 runners crossing the plate during their 3-game set. Orioles hurlers have produced a 3.57 ERA with a 1.08 whip in their prior 6 games at T-Mobile and a 3.27 ERA with a 1.13 whip in their last 6 overall versus the Mariners. Baltimore has hit just .224 with a .385 slugging percentage and a .2810 BP in their last 10 games versus the Mariners pitching staff. The Mariners have struggled to hit at home in 2024, producing a lean .212 batting average with a .651 ops, so they may not have the opportunity to add a significant amount of runs to the score sheet. Seattle has failed to exceed 3 runs in 3 straight games. The Orioles pitching staff has limited their opponents to 1 run in 2 of their last 3 games plays away from their home stadium. The Mariners have pushed or gone under the run total in 4 of their last 6 contests. Most signs point to a lower scoring affair in Seattle on Wednesday. Arizona Diamondbacks vs Los Angeles Dodgers. My team pick is Los Angeles Dodgers minus 1.5 runs. And here is why. The Dodgers dropped a road series against the San Francisco Giants over the weekend, losing 104 on Sunday. It is the first series Los Angeles has lost to a National League West foe since it dropped 2 of 3 games at home against Arizona from May 20th to 22nd. Look for them to bounce back against Jordan Montgomery, who has been a shell of his former self this season. The 2024 season has been a massive disappointment for Montgomery. He comes into this one with a dismal 6.44 ERA and 1.68 whip over 65.2 innings. He was chased out of the game early last week and faces a Dodgers team 2nd in ops and 3rd in home runs. The Dodgers have won 5 of 7. My total pick is under 9 runs, and here is why. The Dodgers will start youngster Gavin Stone in the 2nd game of this set. He picked up the win over the White Sox last Wednesday, allowing 4 hits and no walks in a complete game shutout while striking out 7. Stone has been excellent over his 89 innings this year. Heading into this one, he has a 2.73 ERA, 1.12 whip, and a 70/25 KBB ratio. I expect Stone to deliver another strong performance, and most of the runs generated will come against Montgomery. The total has gone under in 9 of Los Angeles' last 12 home games. Los Angeles Angels vs Oakland Athletics. My team pick is Angels moneyline, and here's why. The Angels have won their last 4 in a row against the A's, not including Tuesday's result, and the A's are on a downward slump as of late. I don't trust Estes to be as productive as a top-tier starter considering his experience in poor era. The Angels have a better record on the road than the Athletics at home, and betting on Oakland has been a terrible decision if you have chosen to do so. They are down over $1,200 in moneyline bets this year. The Angels are actually the underdogs, so I will pounce on that as soon as I can. My total pick is over 8 runs, and here is why. The Angels have hit the over in their last 3 in a row, and both teams have managed to total over 8 runs per game between themselves and their opponent. Los Angeles has also hit the over in the majority of their games this season, with the starter making their second start in the MLB and the other essentially being a first-year player. These two will be prone to making mistakes. The offense can capitalize on those mistakes and score some runs. Milwaukee Brewers vs Colorado Rockies. My team pick is Milwaukee Brewers minus 1.5 runs. Dakota Hudson has been terrible this season for the Rockies. He has a record of 2-11 with a 5.84 ERA, 1.62 WHIP, and a 44/43 KB ratio in 16 starts this season. Opposing batters are hitting .281 against Hudson this season. Expectedly, Hudson has been awful at home, posting a putrid 8.58 ERA and 2.13 WHIP in 8 home starts this season. The Brewers have been good on offense this season. They are top 10 or around the top 10 in the league in runs, hits, RBIs, walks, stolen bases, batting average, and OBP. The Brewers will hit Hudson well and score a bunch of runs. Milwaukee will win this contest by 2 or more runs. My total pick is over 11.5 runs, and here is why. Both starting pitchers will struggle at Coors Field. Dakota Hudson has been awful at home, posting a putrid 8.58 ERA and 2.13 WHIP in 8 home starts this season. Colin Rea has a 4.54 ERA and 1.54 WHIP in 6 road starts and 8 total road appearances this year. He will struggle to pitch in Colorado. The Brewers have been good on offense this season. They are top 10 or around the top 10 in the league in runs, hits, RBIs, walks, stolen bases, batting average, and OBP. This will be a very high-scoring game, and the over will hit. Detroit Tigers vs Minnesota Twins. My team pick is Detroit 1.5 runs, and here is why. Flaherty has tossed well against Minnesota in the past, and after a solid month in June and strong road showings this season, he is poised to deliver for the Tigers here. Minnesota has seen the ball well, but their impatience at the plate could prove worrisome against a veteran hurler like Flaherty. Festa is still wet behind the ears as he will be making just his second MLB start. With the Tigers' ability to score with runners in position, don't be surprised for them to play aggressive when runners are on the bag and keep this close. My total pick is under 9 runs, and here is why. As mentioned, Flaherty has thrown well of late and his June splits were the best of any month this season. He will be facing a Twins team he knows well, which has also had struggles when runners are in scoring position. Detroit is coming off arguably their softest month in terms of batting, and that trend persisted into early July. Even with his inexperience, look for him to keep it close to the vest here and stick to what he knows. Tampa Bay Rays vs Kansas City Royals. My team pick is Kansas City 1.5 runs. The Kansas City Royals are currently ranked 3rd in the American League Central Division, with impressive statistics this season. They have been scoring an average of 4.52 runs and collecting 8.08 hits per game. Their team batting average stands at .244, while their on-base percentage is .306. The Royals also have a remarkable run differential of 51. However, their opponents have not been far behind, scoring an average of 3.93 runs and 8.01 hits per game against the Royals this season. Their opponents also have a team batting average of .242 and an on-base percentage of .311 against the Royals. So far this season, the Kansas City Royals have been quite successful in covering the run line in their games. Out of the 87 games they have played, they have managed to cover the run line in 48 of them. However, when playing at their home stadium, their record against the run line is slightly less impressive at 2.720. Despite this, the Royals have still managed to maintain a solid record of 1.49 when playing as the home underdog. In their most recent game, the Royals did not cover the run line, however they have covered the run line in 5 out of their last 8 games. I like the home team run line trends for the Royals. Go with the Royals in this big-time matchup. As of now, the Tampa Bay Rays hold the 4th spot in the American League East standings. Throughout this season, they have been averaging a solid 4.02 runs and collecting 7.88 hits per game. Their team batting average stands at .236, with an on-base percentage of .310. However, the Rays have faced some challenges, as they currently have a run differential of -52. On the other hand, their opponents have been scoring an average of 4.64 runs and collecting 8.41 hits per game against them. Additionally, their opponents have a batting average of .244 and an on-base percentage of .308. The Tampa Bay Rays have had a somewhat inconsistent record against the run line this season, with a current standing of 40-45. However, when playing on the road, they have shown a stronger performance with a record of 2.314 against the run line. As the away favorite, the Rays have a slightly lower record of 6-8 against the run line this season. In their most recent game, the Rays successfully covered the run line and have managed to cover it in 3 out of their last 5 games. In fact, the Rays have an impressive record of covering the run line in 12 of their last 14 games. My total pick is under 8.5 runs, and here is why. Under 8.5 runs, and here is why. The Tampa Bay Rays have had an eventful season so far, with 42 out of their 85 games going over the posted total. This trend continues when they play on the road, as 18 out of their 37 away games have also gone over the posted total. However, their last game went against this trend and went under the posted total, and only 2 out of their last 9 games have gone over the posted total. On the other hand, the Kansas City Royals have had a different experience, with 48 out of their 87 games going under the posted total. This has been especially evident when they play at home, with 22 out of their 47 home games going under the posted total. Similar to the Rays, the Royals' last game also went under the posted total, and 10 out of their last 12 games have followed this trend. The under trends between these two teams are evident. San Diego Padres vs Texas Rangers. My team pick is San Diego Padres minus 1.5 runs, and here is why. San Diego has been playing really well over the past few weeks. They have won 9 of their last 12 games coming into Wednesday night. The Padres are also coming off of an embarrassing defeat to the Rangers. This is a great opportunity for them to bounce back against Jon Gray, who has an ERA of 5.23 against the National League. The Padres are hitting the ball at a clip of .280 on the road. This should be a high-scoring game with their offense leading the charge. My total pick is over 9 runs, and here is why. The Padres' offense will dictate this game and will push the over to hit. San Diego is hitting .280 when they play away from home. They are also coming off of a month where they hit .271. Texas should come away with some runs too. They are facing Adam Mazur, who has an ERA of 7.25 this season. Philadelphia Phillies vs Chicago Cubs. My team pick is Phillies to win, and here is why. The Cubs lost Game 1 of this series, and they only have 3 wins in their last 11 games. On the other side of the coin, the Phillies are 7-3 in their last 10 games and have the most wins in the majors. Wheeler gave up 3 runs in his last start, and he has given up more than 2 runs in only one of his last 7 outings. He will have another good outing facing a Cubs team that has only averaged 2.9 runs over the last 9 games and only ranks 20th in runs scored. Imaniga gave up 3 runs in his last outing and gave up 10 in his previous one. After a long streak of solid outings, he has given up at least 5 runs in 3 of his last 6 outings. Even short-handed Philly will get to him in this game for a few runs. That will be enough, as the Phillies will get the W and send Chicago to their 3rd loss in a row. My total pick is under 8 runs, and here is why. The total went over for Game 1 of this series, but I am leaning towards the under in Game 2. Wheeler has been solid this season, had a good last outing, and in his last 8 starts gave up more than 2 runs only once. Chicago has not been good at the dish, as of late, and ranks 20th in the bigs in runs scored, and they will struggle to score runs in this game. The Phillies will get some runs off Imaniga, who has been up and down in his last several outings, but not many. While far from a pitcher's duel, this game will not be a high-scoring affair, so the under is the pick. San Francisco Giants vs Atlanta Braves. My team pick is Atlanta minus 1.5 runs, and here is why. The San Francisco Giants are one of baseball's most unpredictable teams in 2024, and in this rivalry against the Braves it's equally so, with the teams posting a 5-5 record over their past 10 head-to-head encounters, with a 2-2 mark in their past 4 meetings in Atlanta. Unfortunately for the Giants, Jordan Hicks has slowed down after a hot start, posting a 5.24 ERA through 5 outings in June, while Chris Sale continues to be dominant with a 2.79 ERA on the season. So look for the Braves to even up this series with a big win on Wednesday. My total pick is under 9 runs, and here is why. When looking at a pitching matchup of Hicks vs Sale, it's safe to predict that they'll highlight this intriguing matchup, which happens often in this rivalry as the under comes in at 6.31 in their past 10 head-to-head meetings. For the Giants, the under is 2.71 in their past 10 overall games, with the team averaging just over 4 runs per game outside of a 10-run explosion in that time. For the Braves, the under comes in at 7.21 in their past 10, with the team allowing just 3.1 runs per game over that span. Cincinnati Reds vs New York Yankees. My team pick is Yankees minus 1.5 runs, and here is why. New York is in a good spot to take advantage of the struggling Reds here, and this is a good spot to take the Yankees minus 1.5 here. Although Rodon struggled mightily against the Blue Jays, he has been better at home and gets to face a Cincinnati offense that has struggled. The Yankees' offense, meanwhile, will be able to score plenty of runs against Abbott, who also has had his struggles, which is why I like the Yankees minus 1.5 here. My total pick is over, and here is why. The over is also a good spot here, as New York's bats should be able to score plenty of runs, while Rodon will likely give up a couple to hit the over hit. This season, New York is 4.5383 in hitting the over, while at home is 2.018. Cincinnati, meanwhile, is just 3.6453, but the Yankees should be able to get 5 to 6 runs on their own, with the Reds likely getting 3 to help the over hit. Houston Astros vs Toronto Blue Jays. My team pick is Houston Astros money line, and here is why. Honestly, I'm scratching my head and wondering why the red-hot Astros at just minus 105 on the money line. They've been on fire recently, winning 10 of their last 12 games. Meanwhile, the Blue Jays continue to struggle against teams with winning records, where they've posted a 26-37 mark against winning clubs. Furthermore, Yusei Kikuchi is taking the ball for the Jays. He has faced off against Houston quite a bit from his time with Seattle, and the left-hander hasn't done particularly well against them. The Astros' current roster is /298//406/.667 against him over 84 at-bats. That's a 1.073 ops over a sizable sample size of 84 at-bats. Furthermore, Kikuchi wasn't good during June, logging a 6.26 ERA over 6 starts, 27.1 IP. My total pick is under 8.5 runs, and here is why. While I'm expecting some scoring from the Astros, I still think we'll see a lower scoring affair overall. Well, or at least it should stay under 8.5 runs. Mainly that's because Ronald Blanco is taking the ball for Houston. The right-hander is sneakily putting together a monster season for Houston. He brings in a 2.49 ERA 6th best in MLB and a 1.01 WHIP 12th. Furthermore, the 30-year-old has had Toronto's number in the past, limiting them to a slash line of .059/.158/.147 over 34 at-bats. The Blue Jays aren't very good in terms of offense anyways, so I'm doubting they find their footing in this matchup. They entered the game ranked 22nd in team batting average .235, 19th in OPS .688, and 25th in home runs 78. New York Mets vs Washington Nationals. My team pick is New York Mets to win, and here is why. While there is a lot of discussion about Christian Scott, he did go 3-0 with a 2.76 ERA and a .191 batting average against in 9 starts in Syracuse thus far. These offenses in the last 6 games have also shown a significant gap in production, as the Mets are scoring 6.5 runs per game, while the Nationals are averaging 3.5 runs per game in that stretch. The Mets are also pounding lefties, averaging 5.6 runs per game against them, and hitting .264 compared to .248 overall. My total pick is over 9 runs, and here is why. These teams are not able to get outs throughout the season with runners in scoring position and are giving up hits. The Mets are 20th with a .260 batting average against in those situations, while the Nationals are 24th with a .264 opposing batting average. With Edwin Diaz continuing his 10-game suspension, this New York bullpen is a bit depleted, and these teams combined to score 16 total runs in the opening game of the series. Boston Red Sox vs Miami Marlins. My team pick is Boston Red Sox moneyline, and here is why. This should be a fun interleague matchup to get Wednesday's MLB action started, but when the dust settles, I think it'll be the Red Sox who emerge victorious. Boston has been playing quality baseball over the last 14 games, going 104. They'll take on a Miami squad that's an underwhelming 14-28 on the road this year. Statistically, I have to point out the fact that Brayan Bello, Boston's starting pitcher, has owned Miami's roster over a 23 at-bat sample size. The right-hander has limited them to a slash line of .174/.208/.304 over 23 at-bats. I'll dive into some of Boston's offensive numbers below, but they should explode for some runs in this game. I think the Red Sox cruise to a win against this underwhelming Marlins bunch. My total pick is over 8 runs, and here is why. Picking it back up with Boston's offense, they've dominated left-handed pitching this year. This should be a great spot for them to rack up the runs as they take on Trevor Rogers' LHP, who brings in a 4.87 ERA and 1.56 WHIP. Over at Fangraphs, Boston ranks 9th in WOBA .326 and 1st in BABIP .346 against Southpaws this season. Then, we have the head-to-head numbers, where the current Red Sox roster is slashing .400/.600/.500 against Rogers over 10 at-bats. The Red Sox should find a ton of success in this game, and I think there's a serious chance that they clear the total by themselves. Circling back on Bello, the right-hander wasn't serviceable in June, posting an 8.25 ERA and 2.04 WHIP. While Miami's offense is certainly not anything to write home about, they should manage to scratch across a few runs, helping to get us over the total. Chicago White Sox vs. Cleveland Guardians, my team pick is Cleveland minus 1.5 runs, and here is why. The division foes have already met 7 times this season, with surprising results as the White Sox carried a 4-3 record in the head-to-head before the start of this series. Chicago starter Fede has faced the Guardians twice this season with mixed results. In his outing at Progressive back in April, the White Sox starter served up 3 home runs and 3 walks in 5 innings. Cleveland is one of the strongest teams in the game at home, as noted by their .269 record at Progressive, and they scored 0.36 more runs per game there than they do on the road. Williams making his first start is a bonus for a club that needed a shot in the arm in the pitching department. He got in plenty of work in the minors, so he should be rearing to go, and if you want to face one lineup in your season debut, after a long time down, the White Sox are the perfect foil. My total pick is under 8.5 runs, and here's why. In their first 7 meetings this season, the under was 4-3, as the teams combined to average 7.7 runs per game. The under has hit 82 times between the two teams this season. Cleveland does possess one of the best offenses in the game, but with Chicago involved, things tend to get dragged down considerably. Before Tuesday night, the White Sox offense had scored 3 runs or less in 9 of their last 13 games. The Guardians' offense put up 3 or less in 4 of their last 5 games. With this being the 3rd time Fede will be seeing Cleveland, he should do okay enough the first couple of times through, knowing what he already knows. That will help the cause. The under is 6-4 in the last 10 games between the two teams. Cardinals vs. Pittsburgh Pirates, my team pick is Cardinals to win, and here is why. It was less than a month ago that Miles Mikolas completely blanked this Pittsburgh Pirates lineup and should be able to do that once again. There is a significant difference offensively in the last few weeks, as the Cardinals are averaging 4.46 runs in their last 13 games while the Pirates are scoring just 3 runs in their previous 12 games played. My total pick is over 8.5 runs, and here is why. When looking at the last 7 starts for both of these pitchers, they are getting hit as Miles Mikolas is 3-2 with a 4.75 ERA and a 1.06 WHIP in 41.2 innings, while Jared Jones is 3-2 with a 4.85 ERA and a 1.38 WHIP in 39.0 innings in that stretch. These bullpens have been struggling a bit, so these teams can hit a lot better later in the game, as the Cards are 10th in the sport, with a 3.57 reliever ERA, while the Pirates are all the way down at 27th in the majors with a 4.61 bullpen ERA.